Creepypasta is an emerged genre of storytelling centered around easily copied content, which is then shared online and often collaboratively adapted or extended, sometimes anonymously, to create a group myths around a particular idea or creepypasta characters. There is a brief overview of some of the most widely recognized and popular examples of creepypasta characters, who or what they are supposed to be, and where they came from. The Rake. The Rake is a cryptid creepypasta character that allegedly stalks the woodlands and has been accidentally captured numerous times on camera, most famously on a motion capture camera set up to observe nocturnal animals. The most famous image of the Rake shows a hairless, pale-skinned creature approaching in a hunched or squatted position. Humanoid in appearance, the creature had wide orb-like glowing eyes and a gaping mouth. The story of the Rake was actually the result of a suggestion on a message board that users attempt to come up with a new monster, with the original story having appeared on the personal blog or a writer named Brain Somerville in 2006. Though it's commonly accepted that the Rake story and descriptions of these creepypasta characters' appearance were responses to an image commonly referred to as the Brick Berwick monster, a photograph that was actually picked up by mainstream media and reported as possibly being a genuine cryptid sighting, but which was in fact a still from a game and circulated by the manufacturers as a publicity stunt. The timeline actually indicates that in this case the story came first and the image only linked to a story later. In actual fact, the appearance of the creature does have a number of antecedents in popular culture. In particular, the monster in X-Files episode Fukeman, released in the late 1990s, and the creature nicknamed Lizzie, and created by special effects wizard Tom Savini for the television series Tales from the Dark Side. Jeff the Killer. Almost as popular as the Slenderman, though not quite as marketable in terms of crossover to mainstream media, is Jeff the Killer. Much of this creepypasta character's spread seems to have resulted from its use at the end of Screamer videos alongside Jeff's catchphrase, spoken before he kills, "Go to sleep." In appearance, Jeff the Killer is a noiseless, white-skinned human being with an abnormally white maniacal grin, while staring eyes that lack eyelids. According to the mythology that has built up around the character, his appearance is due to a combination of injuries inflicted by bullies, his skin color and scarring due to an attack with alcohol and bleach, and self-inflicted injuries. Jeff is said to have widened his own grin with either a knife or a razor blade and burned off his own eyelids. The murderous character is said to appear in his victims' bedrooms at night, before speaking his catchphrase and stabbing them to death. Jeff the Killer is closely linked to a disturbing image, and indeed the original story seems to have been written in response to an image that already existed. That image is a heavily edited portrait photo that first appeared on YouTube. The image was linked to a story written by a user named Cesar that was first posted online on October 3rd, 2008. Indeed, Jeff's origins are explained as being insanity as a result of bullying, after which the injured Jeff killed his brother and parents before going on a wider killing spree. Susser has expressed his dissatisfaction with some of the later adaptations and additions made by users to the Jeff the Killer lore and has particularly disputed the character's real name, which is presented either as Jeff Allen Woods or Jack Hoddock. Slenderman. Undoubtedly one of the creepypasta characters that has crossed most easily and pervasively into the mainstream imagination. Slenderman has been referenced in countless bets for a character created on a theme from a stimulus piece on a message board. Depicted as a giant human being wearing a suit but with a face that lacks any discernible features and is instead completely white, like that or a styrofoam mannequin head. The Slender Man is also sometimes shown with tentacles emerging from behind or from the sleeves on his suit. Initially depicted as a malevolent creature capable of enticing children into wooded areas, never to be seen again, or influencing them to commit horrific acts of violence. With increased popularity, the character's MO eventually began to change so that his motives became more benevolent and he was seen as a protector of the innocent or a figure who would intervene on their behalf. Like a number of the leading characters to have emerged from the creepypasta genre, Slenderman was originally created as a reaction to an image. In this case, the image itself was a response to a call on the Something Awful thread for disturbing images, from which posters could then develop a story. The original poster, Eric Knudsen, writing under the name Victor Surge, added an image that at first seems entirely innocuous but upon closer inspection showed a strange otherworldly being stalking the children in the foreground. Within days, the backstory for Slenderman had been expanded by another user calling himself Leechcoat, and within 10 days of the initial post on Something Awful, there was a YouTube video dedicated to Slenderman. This jump onto multiple platforms assisted the spread of the myth and the character's popularity, allowing the faceless monster to move from being a text, image, and forum-based phenomena to being an ARG with the character now being referred to, discussed and modified across a number of different platforms and modalities by an even growing number of contributors. The Slender Man, the most iconic of creepypasta characters, has been the subject of study for a number of serious folklorists who have highlighted links to older traditions within folklore and fairy tales, such as the character's tendency to be seen in or close to forest or woodland. The fact that the character's lack of features allows for the reader to project their own fears onto it, and how the character's ability to seemingly lure or entice children into the woods to be made away with, linked back to older tradition, the Fae, Challenglings, Willow, the Wisp, and the Earl King. An often overlooked influence of the development of the Slenderman character is the DC character, The Question. A superhero detective character, the pre-exciting figure bears a striking resemblance to the later depictions of the Slenderman, such as wearing a suit and having a white, blank and entirely featureless face. At least this may be just a coincidence. It is worth nothing that the Question's secret identity is Victor Sage, a name that is strangely similar to Victor Surge, the pen name of Natsan, Slenderman's original creator.